Welcome in traders. Let's go over today's trading session. So we are currently looking at ES and the time frame we are looking at is the 2000 tick chart. Now, the only other indicator I have on here is the 21 EMA, which is this purple line. And other than that, I solely rely on price action and trend lines to look for high probability setups. Now, as part of my pre-market ritual, I like to look for the trending market or if we're in a range. Now, for today's session, we can see we have a strong market that is going higher with a series of higher highs and higher lows. And if we measure the move, it looks like we pushed about 80 points. Now, when you're looking pre-market and you see a strong market structure trending 70 points plus, a strong structure, you can definitely expect a continuation of that trend. Now, what I like to do is I look for the bottom pivot where the move started and I align it geometrically with the candles. The more confirmation touches you get, the better. So as you can see from this bottom pivot, we have about 1, 2, 3 confirmations. And as you can see, we just have a nice uptrend in play. Now, according to price action rules, once you have a nice trend in play, we expect price to continue working higher unless we break the structure and we make a new high. So as you can see, this structure has not yet been broken. So we were waiting for the market open, and as you can see, we had a nice correction going on. We had a break of the correction and a new low. So we are only thinking long in this scenario unless we retrace about 60%, which we haven't, which is this yellow line. The Fibonacci tool is a great tool to use, especially if you have a strong sell-off and you're not sure if that trend is going to get a new high. You can measure, and if we retrace about the 60% mark, that's usually the end of that trending channel. Now, we waited for the correction because although we want to look to take a long setup, we want to wait for the correction to play out. So we had a downtrend in play with a broad break, the broader the better, and we had a break and a new low. So now what are we thinking? We are thinking that we need to get a new high for this uptrend. So this was the first trade I actually took of the day. We had a nice momentum push above the EMA, and counting from this new low, we had a new low, first entry short failure. This was the first attempt from the bears to short the market and they failed. It triggered lower than the previous candle and it ended up getting bought up. We pushed higher, right? And then when we came back to the EMA, as you can see, this was the failed second entry short. This was the second attempt for bears to short the market. As you can see, it triggered lower than the previous candle and it instantly got bought up. And when you see such a strong reclaim, it gives you confidence that the bears got trapped, the bulls are taking over, and they want to make a new high for this uptrend, as well as the bigger uptrend, right? That takes precedence. So as you can see, we had a break. This was my first entry of the day, a great failed second entry short, where bears failed to short, and we ended up making a new high here, right? Now, once I saw we had a break and a new high of this channel, this is an area where you want to wait because what if the correction gets deeper or what if we turn into a range? I also noticed that the EMA started getting in the middle of these bars, and this is a classic range behavior. So once I saw this, I just decided to draw a small range, the top being the resistance and the bottom being the support. And as you can see, price didn't have a strong continuation, right? We ended up breaking, making a new high, and we ended up going sideways. Now, I still do expect prices to make a new high for this uptrend, but sometimes we can definitely have some delay, especially when it's such a strong push up. Sometimes we go through a consolidation period, which is what's going on here right now. So what you can do is in a situation like this, focus on the longs. And what you can do is you can buy low and avoid selling high because we're not really looking to short, especially that was a trending bullish market. So this is an area where you can wait for a failed breakout, a significant push above EMA, and to take a long position. Now, what I recommend is drawing and playing the small trends that are forming. And as you can see, we have break, new low. Over here, I was waiting for a failed second entry short. We never had it. We just had a lower high. So this was an area where I didn't take a position yet. And then we started going sideways here again. So once I saw that we didn't reach the top of the resistance, I just waited. We also can adjust this support a little bit lower because as you can see, we have a little bit more confirmations here. And I was just waiting for a stronger push just to show me that the bulls are back in business. So as you can see here, we had a nice strong trend working higher. We did kind of reject the resistance, but that's no problem. The main bias is looking to take a long, so we're just going to wait, see if we can find a second entry long. So counting from this new high here, and you also have to draw the small corrections, we have a new high, a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Now, this second entry long right here is a double bar entry, which I don't necessarily like, especially when it's a strong bearish candle. So if you took this, I see why. We also really didn't test the EMA strongly with the body, kind of far from it, just a tad. But regardless, I didn't like this setup, especially that we were rejecting at the resistance, and it was just kind of going sideways. So this is an area where I decided to wait it out a little bit more and look for a strong resumption. And for this trend, we ended up having a break and a new high. I was waiting for a second entry around here, especially that I saw the momentum pushing higher and higher. But as you can see, we only have first entry, right? Usually when we're in a long consolidation and price finally breaks out, usually the momentum is super strong and the bulls just take over and you really can't find um, as good setups as you usually do beforehand. So we ended up having a break and a new high. And if we zoom out, we also have a new high for this uptrend here. So everything played out for the upside. So now we have to wait for three things that can happen. We can either have a continuation of the uptrend, right? We can have a reversal, or we can turn into a range, kind of like what happened here, where we're going sideways until the market chooses a direction. Now, when you start getting more experience, you do notice that this uptrend was strong, but usually when it's a strong trending day, the corrections aren't as long and as broad as it was here. Usually you have a small correction, you push up, you make a new high, and then you continue having a continuation of higher highs, higher lows. But here, once I saw it, we kind of went into a long range continuation, consolidation, I meant to say. I kind of figured that this uptrend, as far as a continuation for the rest of the day, was going to be a bit weak. So now we're just going to look to trade the smaller channels. So now the uptrend played out. We are just focused on the current channels. We had a downtrend in play. Now, a lot of you guys might think that since we didn't touch the EMA, we might retest this level. But whenever you see some broad price action like we did here, and you make a new low, this is an area where you can just count it as a new low. You don't have to necessarily think, okay, it's time to short, unless you're proven otherwise. If you go towards the EMA and you start failing at it, then you can start looking to take short setups. But the moment I saw the momentum slicing through EMA, I figured, okay, they're going to count this as a break and a new low. I was looking to take a long setup here, but as you can see, once again, we didn't even touch the EMA. Counting from this recent high, we only have a first entry long. Didn't even touch the EMA because, especially in tight ranges like this, or in markets where there's not a really strong bias, you want to make sure that the correction fully plays out and we're buying at the EMA. We had a break, a new high here. We're just playing the shortened channels. We had a downtrend working, break, and we had a new low of it. And then as you can see again, we started going sideways, EMA in the middle of everything. Once I saw this, I was thinking of drawing a range until I saw another spike lower. So then I zoomed out and I noticed a pattern here. Counting from this high, all the highs are lower and the lows are also lower. So I figured, okay, it looks like we are in, I wouldn't call it a strong downtrend, but almost like a range tilted down, because it's not super clean where the EMA is holding below all these candles and we're having, push after push lower. We are kind of in the middle of it, but I figured if you zoom out, you can see it's a nice downtrend working lower and lower. So I ended up drawing a nice downtrend like this. So now I'm only looking for short opportunities. Let me get rid of some of these out of the way just to make the chart a little bit clearer. So now we are only looking for short opportunities because, as you can see, we have a confirmed downtrend. So counting from this low here, because we're looking to short, we have a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and then we had a significant push above and a lower high here. Now, the reason why I wasn't too confident in this lower high is because number one, it didn't trigger higher than the previous candle, and secondly, I wanted to see a significant push below EMA, but as you can see, we pushed below EMA, you know, not even that much, and we automatically push back up. This kind of shows you that the bulls kind of are still in this area and the bears haven't taken over. So this was an area where I just wanted to wait for maybe a reversal pattern, like a failed second entry long. Counting from this high, we have a new high, first entry long failure. Pullback, we didn't have it here. If you took this, I get it, especially that it was a bearish engulfment. We had a break and a new high for the small uptrend, but I wasn't too crazy about this trade. We ended up breaking and making a new low for this downtrend. You can draw the mini corrections or the mini trends within the bigger channel, but I just was relying on the bigger channel here. It definitely took precedence over, all this little noise. Okay, counting from this new low here, we didn't even have a second entry short, just the first entry short. Over here was another good setup. I was on my break during this. Always draw the small corrections. And we had a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short here. Now, this was a great setup. Why? Well, throughout the whole correction, we remained below the EMA. We're also rejecting off of the support, which is now turning into a resistance. And you have a nice engulfment candle. The bigger they are, it kind of gives you more confidence. And you could have scalped it to the bottom of the low. This was definitely a good trade. Uh, the bar is a little bit bigger, about 6 points, so you would have to do a limit order. Really didn't pull back much, but this was definitely a great setup. And we're still thinking to go short because this downtrend is in play. We haven't broke it and made a new low, so it's still active. So we are only looking for short positions. Okay. We can draw this correction. We had a little bit of overshoot on it. And what you can do here is you can look for a reversal pattern, especially with the overshoot. You anticipate the reversal to be a little bit stronger. So counting from this new high, you have a new high, first entry long failure, pull back, we push back up. This right here would be the failed second entry long, right? The only issue with this is we did kind of have a little bit of a support here, right? As you can see, we kind of were bouncing around this level a bit, as well as the support turning into a resistance. And also, this is the reason why I skipped. If you draw the correction, we already have a break and a new low for it. I know we are expecting to get a new low um, for the bigger trend, but I just didn't like how we had a break and a new low here, kind of going a bit sideways. If you took it, I see why, but it wasn't something that I, was crazy about. I was looking for maybe a lower high confirmation here, which we didn't get. And if you scalped it, it still would have been a winning trade. You would have got about, 6 points, which is more than enough. But I wasn't too crazy about it, especially because we had a break and a new low for that mini correction. And we're still drawing these corrections as we're going. We're still looking for short opportunities. Nothing here. We didn't even go below EMA. We had a break of this uptrend, new high, right? Again, here I was looking for a reversal pattern. Why? Well, we had a break, a new high for the uptrend. We also bounced off of this trend line, right? And we're expecting price to test this low, right? Um, so I was looking for a reversal pattern here. We ended up having a new high, first entry long failure, pullback, second entry long failure. The issue with this is it barely closed below EMA. It was after two, bullish closes above. If it was a bit stronger, maybe an engulfment, maybe I wanted you necessarily and essentially want the failed second entry shorts to long, excuse me, to form below EMA. This one didn't. I'll put an arrow at it. This one didn't right here. Counting from this high, first entry long failure, pullback, second entry long failure. So I don't think it was a great setup at all. Okay, now this is the last setup I took of the day. We finally broke the top of the trend. Now what do we expect? We expect a new low to be made. Finally, after a long congestion today, had a lot of sideways price action. So now we expect a new low to be made. And also, if you draw the small correction here, we also need a new low for this one, right? So counting from this new low, we had a new low, first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and then we push back up and automatically push stronger and strongly below the EMA. And we also have a double top here. As you can see, if I draw a small little resistance, we rejected once, twice, actually a triple top, you can count it here. Nice bearish close. We expect to make a new low for this bigger downtrend. And this was the second trade I took of the day. You could have held it as a runner. And from this entry, it was about even more, about a 30-point move. You know, I ended up just going for the scalp. My target was that low of day or the recent low of this downtrend, and this was the second trade I took of the day. Now, if you missed it, right, you could have taken this setup here. You can count it as a mini new high, first entry long failure, pull back, second entry long failure. It's a nice small bar. You know, the risk is small, it's minimal. Um, and this is, you know, if you miss this first entry, you still could have caught this. We're not even uh near that low of day, so this would definitely be another good setup. And then we ended up breaking and making a new low for this bigger downtrend. Now, same rules apply for this bigger uptrend. Once you get a new low for a big trend, this is where you pause. You can expect a continuation, reversal, or consolidation. And over here, it was around closing time. I usually don't trade 30 minutes before the market close. And as you can see, we just completely went sideways. You want to avoid this. It's all congestion. You don't want to get caught in any of this unless you have a breakout. But yep, today was a little bit hectic. We definitely anticipated a continuation once I saw the pre-market open and we had a nice uptrend working higher and higher. But we ended up, you know, reversing and making lower lows. And it was a great day. Two clean trades, one in the morning going long and one in the afternoon going short. Thank you guys for watching.